Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know what they say, face your fears and let the others follow. Well, let me tell you something. Well, let me tell you something. When, you know what they say, let me tell you something. Fear, shit. Well, let me tell you something. For some people, fear looks like spiders crawling across the floor or standing on the edge of a cliff. For others, it's public speaking. When your heart races, your palm sweats, and your voice shakes. But for me, my biggest fear is failure. That kind of, that kind, that deep gut-wrenching kind of failure that makes you think, what if I'm not good enough? Hello everyone, my name is Akila L from SMP As Shofa, Pekanbaru. Hello ladies and gentlemen. For years, I have avoided failure like I was a cat avoiding water. I only did things I was 100% sure I'd be good at. Well, if you live your life like that, then your life feels safe, but it's incredibly small. But it's incredibly small. Feels incredible. That incredibly small. The funny thing about fear is that the more you avoid it, the bigger it seems. The bigger it seems. The bigger it seems. And when you actually face it, you realize it's not as scary as you thought. I used to say yes to everything. Every challenge, every opportunities, every request, every project, because I was afraid of saying the word no. And I was afraid of disappointing people. And I was afraid of disappointing people. Well, you know what they say, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Eventually, trying to be perfect was so exhausting, and I realized I let my fear control me. Then came my breaking point. I was doing a big presentation, one of the moments where you feel like your future is relying on you at this very point. I had prepared endlessly and memorized my lines. And memorized my lines. And memorized my lines. But halfway through, my brain went blank. I froze. Blank. I froze. Silence filled the room. And it was awkward. I felt like my worst nightmare. I felt like my worst nightmare came to life. But here's the twist. Nothing catastrophic happened. Nobody booed. The world didn't end. And people were still kind. And people were still kind. People were still kind. As I walked out the room, I realized something. Failure isn't the end. It's just a necessary step on the path to growth. That experience changed everything. I stopped letting fear control me, and I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I took on challenges I wasn't sure I could handle. But did I fail? Absolutely. But each time I did, I learned something new. But don't get me wrong. But don't get me wrong. Fear hasn't mysteriously disappeared from my life. Fear hasn't magically disappeared from my life. It still shows up, but instead of letting it stop me, I use it as motivation. I use it as motivation. So that's all for me. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
All right.
Give applause for
Thank you very much,
Akila.
Akila. Give a big hand, please, for Akila.
Yeah.